Very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Pavani. I hope you all are doing good. I'm sure you all have enjoyed your Sunday, and I'm sure you all are here with a new energy, and we need a small break, don't we? This gives us a new energy, it rejuvenates us, and it fills up with this fuel, right, that will help us to sail through this whole new week. With this, dear friends, we have the most important article on our table. It is the primary anchor of a healthcare roadmap. It is about this Pradhanmantri Jan ROP Ayana. We are going to talk about it in detail. Then we have this Saving Kaveri's Cradle, we have Governor's Discretion, and we have one editorial called The Plain Truth. Now, before moving ahead, dear friends, I would like to introduce all of you to our pen drive and tablet courses. As you can see on your screen, for various different exams, we have various different pen drive and tablet courses. Find out more about it on StudyIQ.com. I have already shared the PDF of today's lecture for you guys on my FB page and Twitter handle. Now, Pradhanmantri Jan ROP Ayana. It has two important pillars. Yesterday, Prime Minister launched this JAY scheme, and the first pillar is Ayushman Bharat. Under Ayushman Bharat, we are going to convert or create 1.5 lakh health and wellness centers. All those health sub-centers will be converted into health and wellness centers. And what we are trying to achieve here with the help of this health and wellness center is we are trying to shift our focus, from curative side to more preventive side. We are now working on preventing health-related issues or diseases. This is a big change that we will find under this Ayushman Bharat. The second pillar of this PMJAY is National Health Protection Mission, NHPM. It is an insurance scheme that will provide 5 lakh rupee insurance cover to a particular family for 1 year, and this insurance scheme is trying to cover 500 million people of our country. So we are talking about what, 42% population approximately of our country will fall under this insurance scheme. And here the government is trying to cover people who are poor, who are living below poverty line. They will be covered by this National Health Protection Mission. Now, what we need to do is we need to make sure that this disease burden, or this cost and quality, or this eliminating catastrophic health expenditure, these three things, we need to work on this thing. We have to make sure that healthcare providers are accountable, right? That they are not charging unnecessary fees under this insurance scheme. The second thing is disease burden. We have to make sure that after, with the help of both this thing, Ayushman Bharat, which is focusing, as I told you, more on preventive side, and then just in case if someone is not well, then they will be looked after, and they will get early treatment. Once you have this insurance cover, if you are poor, then you will get this confidence to approach a hospital and get your things sorted out. So in this way, disease burden will come down as well. And one thing that we have to eliminate in our country, because every year 6 crore people, right, they become extremely poor because they have to auction or sell their properties or asset, whatever they have, to pay this health expenditure bills. So this will also help us in this elimination of poverty and this vicious cycle of this poverty. And one of the main reason is too much of out-of-pocket expenses. Now, one thing that we have to make sure, and this is very important as well, that without good governance, we are not going to achieve anything. We can come out with the best possible plan. We can come out with all this. We can set up all these hospitals and other things. But if this whole operation associated with this scheme, right, and it is a multifaceted thing that we are talking about. Health is something that we appreciate, or we realize that we are not healthy. We appreciate health only when we are not well, isn't it? It's a very interesting thing, isn't it, that when we are sick, when we are having that headache, then we realize that what being healthy is all about. And being healthy is not only important for an individual, but if you look at a big picture, right, then a particular country which has a healthy population is going to be more productive. Just to take your example, right, if you are not well, say for example, just a few weeks ago your examination, then you are you are going to face a little bit of difficulty. That confidence and your preparation will take a toll and all these things. So this is a small example of not being healthy. Then you can apply this same example for people who are either doing job or profession, or people engaged in business, right? If they are frequently ill, then they are going to call for more sick leaves. And this is overall, if you compare a sick person's graph with a healthy person, then you will find that a healthy person, his graph will be going up and up, his productivity, his average income and everything. And a person who is not that keeping that well, he or she, their productivity graph as well as their long-term income graph can come down too. So everything will add up to our whole country. The more ill population we have, the more money we will be spending after them. And because of this thing, we want to be able to spend after other things like curative things and preventive things. We would be just spending in curative portion or curative side of this health. And if we work on this preventive side, then of course we can avoid so many diseases and other things. But as I was talking about, that good governance is the key. And this reminds me of GST Council. When we launched this goods and services tax, at that point of time, we faced many, so far even today we find that many times, on many occasions, we find some sort of problems with GST. May it be with MSMEs or export businesses, they find some sort of return problems and things like that. But the most important thing is that GST Council has very well heard these issues that different stakeholders used to raise. And GST Council, I can safely say, has done everything that is practically possible to make this whole thing as smooth as possible. And now what we find is that we were talking about this average revenue of government from GST or GST collection in general. We have seen that a small hike, it's going up. It's on an average, it is somewhere between 95,000 crore rupees per month to 1 lakh crore rupees. Of course, we want to see it more than 1 lakh. That's a safe figure as far as GST is concerned. But here we are not talking about GST, of course. What I'm trying to tell you here is, or trying to make you understand, is that we are going to face so many hurdles when as we have launched this PMJAY. We are going to face hurdles. Now the thing is, are we ready to take all those challenges? Are we ready to take the bull by its horn? And are we ready to do everything that is necessary to make sure that this scheme is as smooth as possible? Now this National Health Protection Mission, as I told you, it covers only poor people or people below poverty line. And this reminds us of 2003's Institute of Health Systems commissioned by Vajpayee government. Under this Institute of Health Systems, delinking, or this entitlements were delinked as far as this healthcare is concerned from poverty line. That means if your insurance or your health insurance premium or subsidy will be decided based on your economical status. If you are very poor, or if we are talking about a weaker section, economically very weaker section of society, then 75 to 90% of things will be looked after by government, or insurance cover, or this premium will be paid by government. Or when it comes to lower income group, you get 50% of cover. When you are from middle income group, you get 20% of cover. So in future, we need to expand the benefits of this PMJAY for people who are a bit above this poverty line, right? So that they can also benefit out of it. With this, dear friends, NHPM is pushing for hospitalization of secondary and tertiary level private hospitals. Now there is no you can say harm in creating this network of secondary and tertiary level hospitals, but without primary health care we are not going to achieve anything. It's just like when a particular person is suffering from a particular pain, and when that particular person, generally speaking, in rural areas, right, when they don't have this access to primary health care, this is something that we find in our country. Many people, they ignore this thing. They say that it will be sorted out, things will be all right. They take just a few medicines and they are back to their business. But later on, after a couple of months or maybe after a couple of years, they find that this small thing that could have been avoided has manifested into a big, issue. So without primary health sector, this cost for secondary as well as tertiary level can go up. So we have to work on this primary sector. It is very important. Now, we have talked about this thing earlier on as well, about this empaneled hospital. So this medical facility or this insurance scheme, will be applicable in private hospitals as well. It will be pan-India. So if you are from Bihar and if you are traveling to Tamil Nadu and if you are not well, and if you are covered by this NHPM, then you can of course visit any private hospital that is empaneled hospital that is part of this scheme. You can visit that hospital and you can get that treatment. But we have to make sure that we have a proper or credible public-private partnership. We have to make sure that private hospitals are not charging any sort of unnecessary cost, or unnecessary treatments are not conducted just to hike their profit. Now, profit is important for private hospitals, but doing this unnecessary care and treatment is something that is unethical, and it's very sad that we find nowadays, not all, but there are a few institutions, they practice this sort of unethical things as well on patients. The other thing is provide all care for all the medical conditions that are specified. We have to come out with this standard operating procedure. If someone is having some sort of cardiac issue, then what are the steps or most important steps that a hospital has to follow? What are the treatments that are necessary and all these things. Of course, we have to make sure that we provide enough freedom as well to a doctor so that he or she can perform at his or her best. But at the same time, we have to come out with this standard treatment protocols and guidelines as well. Now, the other thing is all these things, if we look after this credible PPP, if we look after this primary healthcare, as we are going to focus more on this curative thing, all these things are going to create this competition that we have between private and public hospital. All these things will create quality, competition that will enhance quality, and of course it will also keep an eye on the costs as well. If you can get a surgery or something for 1 lakh rupee in a particular hospital, then why you can't get the same thing in another hospital? So all these things will create a healthy competition, hopefully. But as we already discussed, government will have to keep an eye on all these things, all the movements and new things or challenges that will be faced by our nation or this health sector in near future because of this new scheme. Now, the other thing is health is also associated with some other sectors, right? If an individual or a particular region is not having access to clean drinking water, sanitation, garbage disposal, waste management, food security, nutrition security, vector control, then we can have number of hospitals, we can have insurance schemes and everything, but we are not going to reach that peak. It's not about health, is not just about being okay, it is more than that. So this is a culture, a healthy culture. We have not experienced this thing in our country, so it's going to be a bit difficult to imagine, but we want to see, generally speaking, our common citizens, they should be at their peak as far as their health is concerned, and the ripple effect of this thing will be, we cannot calculate, the positive impact of healthy society. Now, we have some good examples from Kerala and Tamil Nadu. They have demonstrated that paying proper attention to high-performing primary healthcare system, can address all this bigger issues, or this secondary and tertiary cares, or their cost and everything can come down. This burden of disease can come down and things like that, and it helps in early detection and also in cheaper treatment once things are detected or disease is detected at an early stage. And lastly, dear friends, technology and innovation. Today we have all these technologies and innovations, isn't it? Every day we find something new, so it's not going to be that difficult. Earlier on it was very difficult, but it's going to be a bit easy now because of these technologies that we have. And one thing that we have left and we have not discussed about in this scheme, when I say we, I mean to say the government, we should pay attention to e-health as well, right? Wearable gadgets, What about online consultation? If you have a doctor, good doctor living in Assam, and if you are in Gujarat and if you want to consult that particular doctor, then you should have access. You can book appointment online, you can pay that particular fee online, and you'll get an appointment. If you have this video camera, or nowadays we have mobile phones, WhatsApp video calling and everything, so you can consult that doctor. You can either visit a nearby place or a clinic where your basic things will be detected by a doctor, and on this real-time basis you can share this with that particular doctor in Assam who is expert in that particular disease. So we need to cover this sort of expenses as well under this scheme, and this will give a big boost to our e-health system too. So that's everything about this system, right, or this particular scheme. Now let's move on to another item. It is about the plain truth. It is about this fighter jet, Rafale, and Rafale deal. And there are two broad issues at present that we are finding in media. One is about overvalued. There are people or stakeholders out there, they are claiming that this whole deal has been a bit expensive for us. Government is saying that this deal is in fact cheaper than what the previous government was going on about, or the previous government, compared to that deal, it is 9% cheaper, if I'm not wrong. That's what government said. Now, crony capitalism is something because of this new statement that was released by a French president, Franco Hollande. He said that government of India suggested Anil Ambani's firm for offset partner. Now, what offset is all about, I explained this thing to you yesterday, and it will help you immensely today to understand this editorial. So one thing regarding offset, in an ideal world, offset is something that a particular company, so in this case this Dassault, will decide with whom it wants to shake hand, or it wants to go ahead with this defense production. Now, Ministry of Defense has said that Government of India has no role in offset deal, and the matter of shame is that, or matter of concern is that, no one is asking questions about the capabilities of this particular jet. Most of the people around, right, particularly politicians, they are on about this overvalue thing and crony capitalism. But to be honest, right, they are not talking about this thing, that how important this fighter jet is for our country. For how long Indian Air Force has been seeking this sort of fourth generation, if I'm not wrong, this is fourth generation aircraft. Countries like Russia, and there are other countries out there, they have this fifth generation aircrafts as well, and we are here at fourth generation. Why it took this much amount of time for us to, even today we haven't received this first lot, isn't it? Still this whole issue is going on. So we have to think about this whole Rafale thing, or defense procurement in this sense. And the real victim of this political war is, of course, defense modernization, something that we talked about yesterday as well. Now, let me tell you one more thing, that China, China already possesses this type of aircrafts. It's a bit unbelievable, but this is true as well, that Pakistan is building this type of aircrafts, and we are at a stage where we are purchasing this sort of aircraft. So it's a matter of shame for the whole nation, of course, that we are engaged in this sort of petty issues. And one more thing, I would like to leave this article with this question here, that whom should we believe? Should we believe our country, our prime minister, or our defense minister, or should we believe this president of France? This is a question we need to ask ourselves. And one more thing that I would like to, I think we discussed this thing yesterday, but then again I would like to put this question, that why can't we see all political parties on same page when it comes to international dealings? Why we are finding, are we that much, you can say, desperate to win elections, or to create this impact on upcoming elections? But somewhere down the line we are not paying attention to this this victim, that is defense modernization and unity of our country, and how we are projecting ourselves on world platform. This indicates a very, you can say, a sort of law of politics in our country. Now, a very interesting article. It is about governor's discretionary powers of the governor. Now, this particular item is in news a couple of days ago. Remember, we talked about this different items that we have, that pardon, that completely, you can say, completely freeing one or a particular person, or making that person clean, right? So that is pardon. So you don't have to follow. Once someone gets this pardon from president, then the president or governor, then that particular person is free from jail, or that person is as clean as you and I. Then commutation is about converting a punishment from a hard punishment to a lighter one. Remission is reducing the period of punishment. Respite is given in special cases, like if someone is pregnant, or if someone is disabled or suffering from other sort of disabilities or some sort of health issues, then respite is given. And then you have reprieve. It is about giving extra time to those people, particularly who are on this death penalty. Now, this discretionary power issue of this particular topic that we are discussing is in news or part of current affairs because of this Rajiv Gandhi assassination case and this convicts. As per recently, Ranjan Gogoi led bench has said that the authority concerned will be at liberty to decide the said application as deemed fit. So it was about freeing all those people who are associated with this Rajiv Gandhi murder case. They are behind the bars from last 27 years, and the Tamil Nadu government or the cabinet has decided to free them. So the Tamil Nadu cabinet has adopted a resolution recommending the governor to release the 7 convicts under this Article 161 of the Constitution. Now, this Article 161 of the Constitution, it covers this remit or commute the sentence of any prisoner. These powers are bestowed on this post of governor by our Constitution. And let me tell you one more thing, that a governor cannot pardon death sentence. This is a very important difference that you have to understand. When it comes to a death sentence, a governor cannot do anything. The second thing is, when it comes to if a particular case or convicts are associated with a central law, then as well governor cannot do anything about it. If a law is, or if the whole matter is associated with state laws, then yes, governor can take a stand. But then again, he cannot pardon this death penalty. Only president of our country can pardon this death penalty. So the governor's decision as per this Article 161, and if we go through previous judgments of Supreme Court, say for example this one, Shamsher Singh versus State of Punjab, Supreme Court has clearly stated that it should be in harmony. Decision or discretionary decision of governor should be in harmony with Council of Minister, and of course it is it can be reviewed by judiciary. So if a judiciary feels that a particular decision is not right, or if it's not up to the law or up to the mark, then of course judiciary can review the decision of governor. Now we are at a crossroad, you can say, because we have never faced this sort of situation in our country as far as this article is concerned, and as far as I know, we have never been in this position. What is going on at present is that the Council of Ministers are saying that we should go ahead and release these prisoners. Now governor is thinking about it, and we have this whole issue, this whole case was sorted out by CBI, so it is something that is dealing with central law. And so this is a very tricky situation we are in at present, and we have to wait and watch. Now if governor decides or if governor thinks that this recommendation of COM, that is Council of Minister, or this cabinet is not up to the mark, or if he decides to differ from this decision, then it is going to indicate that he has lost faith in state government. Or this also means that we are playing around with our federal structure, cabinet responsibility and accountable governance. So there are so many unanswered topics associated with this issue, and I'm sure in near future we are going to find some more articles and editorials on this thing, and step by step, as things will take place in Supreme Court, or maybe this governor's office of Tamil Nadu, we will know more about this thing. So we have a sort of dead end here, but it's not that we are not going to get anything on this thing. Of course we will in future. Now, saving Kaveri's cradle. First of all, let us geographically locate where Kaveri is. As you can see here, it is a southern or peninsular river, originates in Karnataka, and then you can see it travels in Tamil Nadu, parts of Kerala, and the mouth of this river is in Bay of Bengal. Now it is in news because of these 3 proposed railway plans, and we know the importance of water. We know this scarcity of water that is going on in our country, and there are so many countries that are facing this sort of water scarcity. As per United Nations, 10 billion people will be there on our planet Earth by 2050. As per United Nations report back in 2050, the name of the report is Water for a Sustainable World. And this report indicates that the need of the water is increasing, the demand is going up, and the supply is limited. In fact, the supply is falling down. So this is creating huge amount of pressure, and it is going to impact our social, political, economic life. So sustainable management is the only thing or need of the hour as far as water is concerned. Now we use water for drinking, for growing crops, for producing electricity, for industrial production. And here this particular project, this 3 proposed railway line or this railway plan is going to be conducted on this river called Kodagu River, that is a sort of you can say a tributary of this Kaveri River, and it falls under this Kaveri Basin, of course. Now there are a few rivers out there, like say for example this Krishna Raj Sagara Dam near Mysuru provides or is a very important source or primary water source for Bengaluru. Now just imagine if Bengaluru is out of drinking water. That's what the BBC report has said, that in next 10 years our IT capital or Silicon Valley of our country, Bengaluru will not have access to you can say drinking water. So it's going to create a huge amount of troubles for us in terms of migration, in terms of politics, in terms of economy, and this sort of projects, so-called developmental projects, the way we are planning them and the way we are executing them, we are destroying so many natural properties, or you can say natural assets that we cannot rejuvenate, assets that we cannot create are destroyed. So whenever we have if we are thinking about a particular project, like say for example if we are destroying some forests, or if we are thinking about chopping off some trees, then we have to take this thing into consideration, that this will impact this rainfall capture capacity of our earth or our region. It will reduce runoff, and if we have more tree or if we have more green cover, then it will reduce runoff and soil erosion. It helps in groundwater recharge. It helps with our aquifer recharge. It mitigates flood. It supports the local communities because if they have access to water, they can do agriculture. They can engage in this pisciculture and other things, and it also provides a sort of cover or refuge for our flora and fauna. And this project, Delhi Metro Rail Corporation, has also said that it is not going to be beneficial for the state of Karnataka. It has also said that it is not going to be beneficial for this region, because this region is sparsely populated, and we have alternative we can have alternative you can say mode of transportation. Like if we pay attention to improving roads, then as well we can help this particular region. For that we don't need this big massive railway project. Kodagu has about 45% of forest cover and about 30% of agroforestry system, coffee plantations and paddy fields. So destroying that will destroy so many people's or communities livelihood and other opportunities. Now what we find is that a smaller project, there's a high tension power line linking Mysuru and Kazikoda between 2013 and 2015 resulted in loss of about 50,000 trees alone in this Kodagu Basin region. And this proposed railway line is going to cost 10 times more trees than we lost in this. So we are talking about what, 5 lakh trees that we will destroy because of this project. And so that's the thing. Institute of this tropical meteorology has also said that increasingly variable monsoon, erratic monsoon is causing this flooding and droughts and water and food security And if we are going to get rid of our trees, then all these important points that we discussed, mitigating flood and providing refuge for native flora and fauna, everything, we will lose it. Earth and Space Science News has also said that particularly in Asia, these developmental activities are the main culprit behind this fatal landslides. As I told you about this BBC report on Bengaluru, and this decade we are celebrating a decade for water, United Nations decade for water, and we are in just very starting phase of this decade, and we don't want to see this sort of projects that will destroy our flora and fauna, our ecosystem, and our whole, you can say, atmosphere or climate. With this, dear friends, we reach important news items. It's very sad that two TDP MLA leaders were shot dead by Maoists in Andhra Pradesh. Maldives has got this, elections are over, result is out. Abdullah Yamin is out, and Ibrahim Mohammed Solih, opposition candidate, will become the new president. So it's going to bring a new cheer for the whole region. Hollande's remarks are contradictory, has been said by Finance Minister. One more small update about Pradhanmantri Ayush Bharat, and we have 30 states and union territories in total. They have signed this MOU with Centre. Training conducted across 20 states for 3,519 Arogya Mitras and 15,686 applications for hospital empanelment received. Over 13,000 hospitals are on board. We have this bird species. In fact, we have 9 hornbill species in our country, but studies are going on to find out about their distribution and their location. Still, we are not that much sure about its distribution. Now, a petition has been filed in Supreme Court challenging this Article 370. So what this Article 370 is all about, you should have a good understanding on this thing. Then WhatsApp has appointed a grievance officer. India looks to buy Israeli missile called Spike anti-tank guided missiles. And one more important project, that I found in a pink paper. It's not reported in the Hindu, but here we go for you guys. I have got it. Smooth connectivity. So here we are talking about government is planning to go ahead with this 5,000 crore rupees project. The distance that it will cover is 900 kilometer, and it is about roadways. Beg your pardon, it is about waterways. So it will start from West Bengal, it will go to Sundarbans, merge into Padma River in Bangladesh, and then it will join up this northeastern part of our country. So that's a very ambitious project. And here you have data on multi-dimensional poverty. The person that you can see on your screen, his name is Commander Abhilash Tomi. He's the only one from our country who has circumnavigated the whole world alone, and he took part in this very prestigious, you can say, competition, but unfortunately, his the small boat is not in a good shape. He has got some back injury, but we have located his position and we are going to rescue him. So far things are all right. These are your vocabularies. Saturday's map-based question and answer is here in front of you guys. So starting from north, Czech Republic, capital is Prague. Then you have Bulgaria or Romania. You have this Bucharest. Then next to it we have Serbia, capital is Belgrade. Bulgaria is Sofia, and bottom two we have this Malta. Valletta is its capital, and Cyprus you have Nicosia. Yesterday's answer is, of course, Israel. As you can see, we were discussing Haifa. Today's question is identify this particular state of our country. Do let me know the name as well as number of states with which this particular state is sharing its border, and why it is in news. This is your 3 questions based on map, and these are your answers of Saturday's MCQs. Today I have got a bit difficult, you can say, UPSC type of MCQs, and that's everything in today's discussion. Thank you very much for listening. Please make sure that you share this lecture with other students. Enjoy your studies. God bless you all. Jai Hind.